All right, thanks everyone for joining us again for another Everybody Trikes product profile. Today we're going to look at our little Muskateer 14-inch bike. So again, 14-inch is the wheel size. This is almost our smallest trike. We do have one smaller, a 12-inch, but this is sort of our commonly used small trike. Again, has the rear steer, so it can be operated from the back by an attendant. Again, all the functions, brake display can be mounted here and or on the handlebar, depending on the what the capability of the rider is. This bike is a bit simpler. If you've watched this other one on the Rahatri, this bike doesn't have the I guess as much postural support as the Rahatri does. It's not as easy to adjust it. You need Allen keys and things to adjust the laterals. You just don't have as much adjustment in terms of going up and down and things like that. So we sort of tend to use this bike more for kids that need a little bit of postural support, maybe for security, maybe just, they feel more comfortable with the backrest, but not a lot of postural support. If they need a significant postural support, we would go to the Rahatri, but this bike's a good little bike for younger, smaller kids who just need a bit of help. Again, with the handlebar, you have the D-loop, but it doesn't have as much adjustment as the other one. You can move this stem, this adjustable head stem here does pivot forwards and backwards. We can rotate the whole head stem so that the handlebar is back further, but not a huge amount of adjustment. The bike can be supplied without the rear steer, so if someone just needs a little trike, it can be supplied without the backrest and the laterals, so you can just have it with the seat, and we can even put sort of more standard handlebars on it, so it can just be like a little trike, or it can have all these features. This is what we call an upright trike in terms of how it adjusts. So the seat only adjusts up and down on this one. It doesn't move from side to side. So not so much of a big deal for such a small bike, but again, as you get higher and higher, you do get more unstable. But this little bike being so small anyway is not really that much of an issue. Different sorts of saddles. This is what we call a low profile saddle. It allows us to get the height of the seat as low as possible. With this bike, if you do need the backrest, one of the disadvantages is that you have to have this collar on here, which does take up a certain amount of the seat, makes the seat higher. So, if you don't need the postural support, we can bring that seat right down to here and we can get it very short. And you can see here we've got, the various holes for the pedal position, so we can get the bike really, really short from the pedal to the seat if we don't need the backrest. If you need the backrest, then you've got to add on about 60 millimeters, which lifts it up a bit, isn't quite as short. It comes as electric, comes normally as mechanical, but we more often than not, we put electric on them. Again, because they're a heavy little trike and reasonably hard to push around. This bike also has the feature where we can convert the bike from being what we call freewheel to fixed gear. So in here it's in freewheel, so now the pedals aren't going around. And then if I put the pin back in again, it's a little bit awkward on this bike just because of not as much space to play around with. Now we're in fixed gear, and now you can see that the pedals are going around with the bike. So we can still have the same feature where the person on the back here can, rather than having to push themselves, they can hold the finger on the button, the bike kicks in and just motors around by itself without me having to push it, with the pedals going around for the person. If they then get to the stage where they either want to have a rest, I can just get them home by holding my finger, if I hold my finger on here. And otherwise, if they can pedal the bike independently, then the power will kick in, as you can see there. So the power's kicked on the bike, and now I just have to keep the pedals going around. Again, we can put all sorts of different pedals on, depending on what's required, and change the configuration of the controls on the bike. These bikes can be a little bit difficult to transport. We have a quick release lever here on the handlebar on the rear steer, which allows us to remove the rear steer. It can't be, obviously because of the cabling, it can't be taken off completely, but it can be laid down here. You can take the seat out here with the quick release. So, you know, and then if you really need to, you can try and put those down. So you can get in the back of a car, but obviously it's not that easy. Again, we have a rack as well that goes on the back of the car, designed for these small trikes. So you can put the trike up on a rack as well. Typically we don't have a battery quite as big as this one. It's a demo bike, but the battery would be a bit smaller than this one. So the bike is a little bit lighter, and also you get a little bit more space at the back of the bike here because you don't have such a large battery in the way. So yeah, great little bike for someone who's just starting, you know, still might need that fixed free capacity to help them progress to freewheel. Needs a little bit of postural support, but not too much, just to get them going. Not a huge amount of growth in the bike, because with an upright trike you tend to, you know, you only get the up and down, and so eventually we'll have to move to another bigger bike, but you know, a good little one for people just starting out.